Greetings, welcome, and thank you for clicking. I'm Christian of Standing Stones Healing Company, supporting your journey with healing experiences, coaching, and encouragement for life's changes, challenges, and transitions. In this video, I'm going to show you how to harvest and make hemlock tea. No, not that kind of hemlock tea that killed Caesar. I mean the eastern United States hemlock tree, which is not poisonous and which makes a very fine, very nice, very healthy tea. So this tea is going to be very piney in scent and very light and quite tasty. So this video is going to have two parts. First, the harvesting of the hemlock, the identifying and harvesting, and then the making of the tea. So I'm standing here at a beautiful hemlock. And to identify a hemlock, you want to first take a look at the leaves. First of all, it's an evergreen, so it is green during the winter. You can see it is the winter. It's a gorgeous winter day. We've just had a wonderful snowfall. I'm out snowshoeing, and what a perfect time to show you the hemlock and to show you how to make hemlock tea. So to identify the hemlock, it is an evergreen, and you'll see that it has multiple needles. Let me take this off. Okay, just asking permission and saying thank you. This is actually what it looks like. So you'll be able to see that it has some very fine needles on it. These are not stiff needles. These are very flexible and pliable. And it has an amazing, fresh, piney kind of scent, or a fir kind of scent. Absolutely beautiful and wonderful. So this is the hemlock, and you make the tea from the branches, the small branches, and the leaves themselves. So when we harvest from nature, we want to make sure of a couple of things first. First of all, never over harvest, please. Only take what you need. It's very important. Now, the hemlock, fortunately, is a tree that there are a lot of hemlocks. Unfortunately, though, there aren't as many as there used to be. The old grove hemlock stands have diminished, and it is quite sad. However, these are still trees that if you harvest some leaves for tea making for yourself and don't overdo it, there's no need to worry. However, when you do it, you want to make sure that you do it properly. First of all, you want to harvest with gratitude, you want to harvest with respect, and you want to harvest with reverence. So how do we do that? The first thing is saying thank you and asking for permission. I ask for permission before I harvest, and this may sound a little crazy, but if you say please and listen, you'll get an answer. And sometimes the answer is no, and sometimes the answer is yes. Actually, mostly the answer for me is yes. Rarely do I get a no. But sometimes the tree will direct me to please pick from a certain spot, a certain place. And so please respect that. Respect these generous givers. Trees are magical. Trees are miraculous. So please let us respect them. Let us show them gratitude and kindness and reverence. So ask, listen for the answer, and follow the direction. So when I pick personally, when I ask for permission and I'm given permission, I'm going to pick from the stems, that the branches that are on the end that are smaller, and I'm going to pick from these places. I'm not going to grab a whole branch and break it off. Remember, reverent. And so you want to be as non-intrusive to the plant as you can be, breaking off small pieces, and doing so from a variety of spots on the tree, but also from a variety of trees. So, not just picking all of your leaves from one tree, but rather hemlocks grow in groves. They actually can grow in some really beautiful stands where they create a cathedral of trees. And so, it can be a great way to select your pieces for your tea from among multiple trees. And again, always asking those trees. So I will pick some of the lower branches, the outer lying ones, and I will not pick too much at once. I'll only pick a few at a time. And I will pick them from a variety of places. So I might, from over here, for instance, take and just pick off the end, just snap it off very gently, very lightly, and say thanks. Now, I also recommend, just had to smell that, I also recommend leaving an offering. And you can do this in a variety of ways, whatever that means to you. So thanking the trees and leaving something for them. So I actually happen to have something on me that I can offer as an offering, my snack. In here I have almonds. I eat almonds every evening, and prunes. I eat prunes every evening. And I also have some squash seeds, some butternut squash from my garden, and I cook the seeds and I roast them and eat them as a snack. These particular seeds have cumin, cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves, salt, and some yeast on them too. The yeast, oh gosh, I'm blanking on what kind of yeast it is. You know, the powdered yeast that you can put on popcorn, and it's amazing. I'm going to remember as soon as I turn this off, so my apologies. But anyway, it's got all of those things on there. So I like to leave a little bit of a thank you to the tree and say, give it my blessings and my appreciation. And if you don't have anything on you, you can leave other kinds of offerings. You can spit. That is actually an offering that you can leave. Sometimes I might also play my flute. I do have my flute on me. I will not play a song right now, but this is an offering that you can also leave to the tree as a blessing and as a thanks. So I'm going to grab a few more leaves, and then we're going to show you how to make hemlock tea. And remember, this is not the kind that killed Caesar. This hemlock tea will not hurt you. Thank you. Before we make tea, I would like to help you further identify the hemlock so that you make sure that you are indeed picking the correct plant. So you'll see this is a very young hemlock here. And I know I showed you the leaves, but there's a spruce here that I want to show you the difference between the two. So if you take a look at this hemlock, you'll notice that the little leaves are, they're soft. They don't hurt. They're not sharp when you touch them. So they have just a very nice feel to them. Versus the spruce, and also very nice, as I mentioned before, piney kind of smell. Now this beside it is a spruce, and well, let's shake off a little bit of snow here. Hi, spruce, so that you can see how it looks. So you'll notice the differences between them. The spruce, and you might not be able to notice right away, but upon further examination, what you'll notice is that there are leaves on a spruce going the whole way back. On the hemlock, they don't go quite far as back. They also are much sharper than the hemlock. The spruce tips are rather sharp, and if you touch them too hard, it will not feel nearly as pleasant as the hemlock. The spruce also does not have nearly quite as strong of a smell as the hemlock. Here they are side by side, so you can see the difference between them. So here is the hemlock. You can see it's much more pliable, softer, daintier, not as robust as the spruce, which is quite tough in terms of the feel of its needles. It's a little bit more durable than the hemlock. So these are some ways to help you identify a hemlock versus another kind of a tree so that you make sure that you're picking the right thing for your tea. All right, now that we have harvested our hemlock, we are ready to make our hemlock tea. The hemlock tea, by the way, that did not kill Caesar, but rather that killed Socrates. So sorry, I misremembered. I had to look that up and make sure I was wrong. Okay, so here we go. We have our hemlock, and a couple of things I want to say about the offerings. You know, one final thing I want to say about the offerings is that please, if you leave an offering, please make sure that it is nothing that is going to be detrimental to leave in the forest. So please, nothing plastic, nothing that will take a long time to decay, really nothing that doesn't belong there. So please be very careful about what you leave. Even leaving something that is seemingly as harmless as orange peels when I go hiking, I see people who have thrown their orange peels on the ground. Those actually take a longer time to decay than you might think. So I recommend not leaving things in the woods that really don't belong there. Now you might be thinking, Christian, you put those seeds on the ground. Yes, just a couple of them, and they will decay a lot faster than will a citrus peel or a banana peel or something like that. So, okay, here we go with our hemlock tea. By the way, you can store this in a bag in the refrigerator. And so when you harvest, you don't need to make the tea right away. You can actually store it for a couple of weeks. I've actually stored hemlock in the fridge for a couple of months, believe it or not. And you can still make tea out of it, no problem. So if you're not going to use it right away, feel free to throw it in your refrigerator. It won't be as fresh, but it'll still make tea. I do also want to say that technically this is not tea because it does not contain any tea that comes from the tea plant. So technically it's not tea. I guess we could maybe call it a hemlock concoction. I don't know. Anyway, when you make the tea, there are a couple of ways that you can do it. Number one, you can take some pieces and throw them into a pot. Put it on the stove, turn on the water, cover it, and simmer. Boil, turn the heat down, simmer. You can do that. That's one way to do it. The way that I really like to make my hemlock tea, though, is that I like to just pour the water over it, and just like you would any kind of a loose leaf tea. This is my favorite way to do it, and you can use a teapot with a strainer. I actually like to make 1 cup, so this is my favorite way to make loose leaf tea or my herbal teas that I make from the forest. This is my favorite way, and this is the way that I will be making it for you to show you the color, to show you how it looks. So when you make the tea, you want to take your hemlock and just break off pieces, just cut it apart, just take some scissors and cut it, snap it apart, and just toss it right in to your cup or to your pot. You also don't have to have a strainer for this. You know, you can just throw it into your cup and throw the water over it, and that is absolutely okay. Not a problem to do that. Now, when I make this, I not only like to put hemlock in, I like to put some other things in here too. You can make just the hemlock tea, and I like to add in some other things. So I'll add in orange peel. I will add in lemon balm from my garden. I grow lemon balm. So you can just toss in the twig, the small branch, along with the small leaves themselves. You can do that. You can. How much? That depends upon what your flavor you might like. Some people will put in a whole bunch and then really cook and cook and cook, and it will get bitter. I don't make a bitter hemlock tea. I make a very light hemlock tea, but whatever works for you, try, experiment. Hemlock tea is not going to hurt you. Now, I do want to say, I have to say, number one, I am not a medical doctor. Number two, I am not a naturopath. Number three, I am not an herbalist. So please know that when you watch my videos and if you try these things, please know that I am offering you this information for entertainment purposes only. All of my services are for entertainment purposes only. And please see my terms of service at standingstoneshealing.com or in the comment or in the notes below so that you can learn more about my terms of service. But I do not claim any kind of medical knowledge whatsoever. And so when you do any of these recipes that I offer, you do so at your own risk. Thank you. So, yeah, along with, and let me just show you about how much I've put in here so that you can see. That'll suffice. I'll also throw in there, like I said, some orange peel. How much of that? Well, to taste, whatever you want, no problem. Just throw it right in. And as I mentioned, I'll also put in some lemon balm from my garden. So lemon balm is an amazing herb. It is very prolific. It loves to grow. It gets very happy, very beautiful. It has an amazing lemon scent, and I use it in all kinds of things, teas primarily. So this is dried lemon balm from my garden from this year, and I make a lot of tea out of this. As you can see, that's quite a bit of lemon balm. I will drink a lot of lemon balm tea throughout the winter, and I will add it in with other types of teas and herbs. So I'll just take some of this and crumble it right in. And here we have our hemlock concoction. Our water is ready to go. And I'm just going to pour it over. And you can see, now that green color is actually from the lemon balm. That is not from the hemlock. And then cover that over and let that steep. So that will steep. And the hemlock tea itself is actually rather clear. It does not have much color at all. Now, if you really cooked and cooked and cooked it, that would give it some color. But like I said, I make it very light. It will have a very light, piney scent and flavor to it. So that as you are steeping it, you'll be able to smell the hemlock in it a bit. Now in this particular blend, the lemon balm is gonna really, it's not gonna overpower the hemlock, but it's definitely going to be dominant within that mix. Now if I only made the hemlock tea and didn't add in the other things, then that's going to have a lighter kind of a taste to it. I will also say that this hemlock is a little older in terms of its age. The younger you get it, the younger you pick it off of, it is when you pick it off the tree, the more the greater a scent it will have, and even more of a flavor. Now, when we picked our hemlock, I did not pick fresh, young pieces of hemlock, you'd see that more in the spring. I did see some very fresh pieces out there in the woods at this time of year, but the spring is when you're going to find most of that new neon green growth that's very beautiful, and you can just easily pinch that off. You can actually even just eat it. I have not done that. No, I've actually never done that, but you can. Now, hemlock is actually a great tea, or just to eat it, for vitamin C. So there's some great medicinal properties to it. It's wonderful for quite a few things. Your respiratory system, and like I said, vitamin C. And so it does have medicinal properties to it, and is just very delicious. It's a very cozy kind of a tea for a cold winter's day. It really does have a very piney kind of scent and taste to it. And so it's perfect for a dark winter's evening. So we're going to let this steep for a while. Now, when it comes to the hemlock tea, I usually get my water a little hotter than when I make other kinds of tea, and I let it steep for longer, because it's not an easily crushable herb like a lemon balm, and the hemlock is something that you can cook and cook and cook and get more flavor out of it. So I like to let it steep for a little bit longer than I would a regular kind of tea. So we're going to let this sit for a few minutes, and then we're going to take a sip and see how it tastes. All right, so we are ready to enjoy our tea. So here it is after it has steeped for a few minutes. How long? How many minutes? I don't know. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever works for you. And this tea is really going to have that lemon balm flavor in it, and the orange peel along with it as well. But it's going to be a very light tasting tea. It's going to have some hemlock flavor in it. Now, remember how I said that the hemlock was older when we picked it? Well, actually, that hemlock that I used is also a little older than that, meaning that it's been in my fridge for a couple of weeks, several weeks, a couple of months. It's been in there for a while. So what that means is that this hemlock that I used for this particular cup of tea is not going to have as strong of a flavor as something that if I had recently picked it. So it is a little bit older, and that's therefore going to not have such a strong flavor. But this has a very light scent to it. I can really smell very light notes of the citrus. I can smell very light notes of the lemon. And the hemlock is even lighter still. So this is a very light tea, but it's going to be absolutely delicious. Full disclosure, I've already taken some sips. I couldn't wait for you. Sorry. But yes, that is absolutely delicious and refreshing. This is the kind of tea that you want to drink on a cold winter's night with a book and a blanket on your lap. So thanks so much for joining me. Sláinte. This is again Christian from Standing Stones Healing Company, enjoying this wonderful healing tea, hemlock tea, and encouraging you through your journey with healing experiences, coaching, and encouragement for life's changes, challenges, and transitions. Blessings. P.S. I really thought that I should show you what the hemlock tea looks like when you do simmer it in a pot rather than just straining it, so that you can see the color of it, and so that you can get an idea of what it looks like when you do it in a different kind of way. You know, because there are multiple ways that you can drink this tea, so I wanted to show you another way and to show you what that actually looks like in the cup. One other thing I also want to say is that the hemlock, when you harvest the hemlock, be on the lookout for white spots on the back of the
branches. It looks maybe kind of like cotton, and it's sap. This is from an insect called the woolly adelgid, and it is from Asia. It does not belong in the eastern U.S., but it is infesting our hemlocks. And before I knew what it was, I'm pretty sure that I drank it in some hemlock tea. I just thought it was just a really sappy branch. I have since learned what that was all about. So obviously I'm still okay, or that's up for debate. But be on the lookout for that, and make sure that you are picking hemlock branches without the woolly adelgid white sap spots on it. Hemlock also gets scale, which you can, if you flip over and look on the back of the needles, you will see they're just very small brown dots that cling to the back of the needle. And I know that I have drunk my fair share of scale, and you can just pull off those leaves. You can scrape it off depending. Like, for instance, this particular branch, I don't actually see any scale on this one, but I did see some scale on some of these others. So this branch, this particular tree didn't have much scale at all, just a little bit of scale. Scale doesn't move, it just sits on the leaf. And there's one right there. Just you can pull it right off, or you can get completely grossed out and not drink the tea at all, or find branches without anything on them. No woolly adelgid, no scale, no dirt, nothing. Those are just some of the things that happen whenever you forage from the woods, or you just eat anything. So this is how we make it in the pot, just like I mentioned before. Take it, throw it right into the pot, add your water, and simmer. And then I'm going to show you what that looks like. So this has been steeping for about 40 minutes at this point. I turned the water on, I boiled it, and then turned the water down, simmered a little bit, turned it off, and it has been steeping, and that whole process has taken about 40 minutes. So let's see how it looks, what color we have. And as you can see, that is a beautiful golden color, just lovely, gorgeous. So this then is what the hemlock tea looks like when you steep it for a longer amount of time. Definitely smells very piney, very fir-like, and it's going to have a bit of a stronger taste in terms of that piney kind of flavor. So, whether you brew it the way I initially did with the other teas and herbs and things, or you steep it by itself, there's a wide range. If you steeped it even longer, it would be even darker. So it's all up to you. Experiment. Don't be afraid to give it a try in different ways. Thank you. Blessings to you. And again, Slancha. I am Christian of Standing Stones Healing Company, supporting your journey with healing experiences, coaching, and encouragement for life's changes, challenges, and transitions.